Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Meet the Coach. I am back again with another amazing coach as a guest, and I'm really excited to interview my guest today and know more about him. What he does is really amazing, and I think it's something that since this whole pandemic and everything that has got us into a new normal, but it has its own challenges. And I think what he does is something most of us can utilize and need. So I really am not going to waste more time and jump right into the show. So please welcome the amazing and my friend Greg Keily. Hey Greg, how are you?
Hey, deal, fantastic. That's a lovely introduction. Thank you, and happy birthday for today.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So Greg, can you share us a bit about yourself? That who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, of course, of course. I've got. I live in Australia. Grew up in Sydney. Normal sort of I suppose, a childhood. No major incidences around that sort of thing. I grew up, got into the world of sales, and then ventured out into diving. And I was doing running diving operations on a yacht out of the north part of Australia, which is Cairns. And I was approached by a fellow who said, "Look, you do really well at this sort of thing, but it doesn't seem like you're really challenged." And I was living a good life. It was a good lifestyle, right? The money wasn't the best, but it was a good lifestyle. And I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." And he handed me a business card, and he was a recruiting officer for the Navy, the Royal Australian Navy.
Wow.
And he said, "We've got divers in the Navy." And I said, "Is that right?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "We've got clearance divers." And I said, "Okay, what are they?" It's very similar to the Navy SEALs, the US Navy SEALs. Um, and similar to commandos sort of a role. And I went, "Oh wow, okay, that seems very interesting." And so I went home and did some research, and I went, "Wow, these guys are the real deal. Lots of bombs and explosives and guns and all that sort of stuff, all that stuff that I suppose growing up, I'm 53 now. Growing up when I was older, I used to play cowboys and pretend like I was a hero, a John Wayne." And I went, "Oh, okay, this seems quite interesting." So I joined, and I did that, and obviously it was hard. It took about a year and a half of training, and I became a clearance diver in the Royal Australian Navy, and did a lot of different things. I never went to war. I was sort of I was on the fringe of getting postings when the conflicts came out, which was very disappointing because, as you can imagine, if you are in the military, I mean, no one wants to go to war, but if you're training and training and training for something and you never go, it it's like training to play a game of soccer and never getting on the field. It's like, and I know it's a bigger version of that, but realistically, in your mindset headspace,
Mhm.
you train for something and you were never getting there. But I did have the opportunity, and I got asked to go on a deployment with the Special Air Service Regiment, which is the SASR, the elite top guys in the Army of Australia. And so obviously I jumped at that. I went to Western Australia, the other side. I live on the eastern side of Australia. And we trained up for a good 6 months, and we went down to Antarctica. So the Antarctic waters are owned by Australian waters. They're in Australia, and there's a lot of illegal fishing vessels just raping and pillaging the oceans full of fish. So we were the first boarding party down there to go and take these ships and find them and bring them back and secure all their loads. So we went down there,
Mhm.
and it was pretty harsh conditions. It was, I don't know what the temperature was. It was definitely in the minuses, but to give you some idea, when the waves crashed together, they basically froze. The water
Wow.
froze straight away, and so it was snowing upwards. It was quite a really different sort of experience. It's
Mhm.
snow was going upwards. It was just quite bizarre, and the seas were very big. They were about 17-meter seas. About 3
Mhm.
a.m., we get a call to go on board a ship. And so the way we did that was they would launch a rigid inflatable boat, which was a rigid hull with inflatable sides. They'd launch it and put it in the water. And then the driver would drive it up alongside the Navy frigate. It was HMAS Anzac at the time, and it takes a long time to climb down a ladder to get into the boat. So what they did is they had a really thick rope attached to the top, and you basically jumped out there off the side and just flew down the rope. And the rope was sort of a guide to get you into the boat below very, very quickly. It's the same. We do the same. You see it out of the special service guys that jump out of helicopters. They just jump and roll down a rope. So once you jump out, you can't stop. It's just sort of a guide that gets you there. So the first boat, about 10 guys got in, and then the boat was being pulled alongside by a shackle hooked onto the boat, and it pulls out behind.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was the first man in on the second boat. So he comes alongside, and as I jumped out, a big wave hit the side of the ship, which hit the small boat being towed, and it broke the shackle. And so I went straight into the water. Ship was going about, it's a bit of an adrenaline. The ship was going about 10 knots along the water, big swell, 3 a.m. And I got sucked under the ship and basically got thrown around the propellers and spat out the back, which was very lucky. I didn't get chopped up. But then the boats tried to get me, and basically I ended up drowning, and I ended up going into a place that basically is between maybe life and death. I sort of blacked out, went into darkness. Panic left me. I went through about 7 minutes of panic at the time, trying to stay afloat. And I remembered that moment as becoming like, because I was underwater, drinking a lot of water at the time. Very, very cold it was. And everything was black. But then I felt like there was almost another deeper blackness came over my eyes, and I basically started drifting off into nothingness. And that was in between that life and death sort of a moment. Anyway, to cut it, it's a longer story. It's something I've actually been recorded, and I'll put it on my webpage later. But I ended up coming back and having hypothermia and all that sort of stuff. But to cut that story short, I ended up doing the job, no issues. And then I went on after about, I did 14 years in the military. That was about halfway through. And then I joined the police as a police officer. And there's a reason for that story. I'll come back to that in a sec. And this is how our mind works. This is why I'm talking about this, because now I work out how's your headspace. It's my business.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second. But about 10, 12 years later, I'm living life. Everything's fine. And I start finding it having very, very big panic attacks and anxiety attacks when I would drive down into, say, an undercover car park or even if I would go into a shopping center and I couldn't see an exit. It felt like that blackness was enclosing on my mind again. And it was as if I was reliving that moment.
Wow.
It came out of nowhere. This lasted for a long time. I would have to get out as soon as I could, and I would be hyperventilating and stressing out, and I was just thinking I was going to die, and it was obviously very embarrassing. I went through the military, the government, as the government has its process for mental issues or challenges, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Went through the regular channels, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, over and over, repeating and trying to consciously remove these issues that I didn't know why they'd come back. Anyway, it got to the stage where my kids were saying, "Oh, Dad's having another episode." You know, it was just some of the normal life, and I would start freaking out when we'd have to go out and I couldn't do things. It was really restricting my life. I was also at that level where I couldn't go above a second-story building because I felt that I was falling to my death because I slid down that rope. So it had many, many impacts on my mind, and I just couldn't understand why or how. And I ran into after the police, I joined. I started in real estate, which is something totally different.
Yeah. Greg, can you hear me? Hey, I think there was a technical glitch. We lost Greg for a few I think for a few seconds, and now he's back. So, Greg, I think last time when we were able to hear you, you were talking about you joining real estate. So, can you start from there?
Yeah, for sure. And so basically, I was saying that I learned questioning techniques in the police on how to question criminals, and I would always ask them certain questions and overlap. And then I brought that into the real estate world and did really, really well. I was ranked up in the top 1% of salespeople in Australia
Wow.
for a couple of big franchise companies. Didn't understand why. I was just this simple little fella that had those techniques. So I started coaching there. People kept saying, "Well, you're doing so well. Can you show me how you do it?" So I thought, well, I better do this properly. I better not just wing this. So I actually designed training modules and I recorded a CD and all that sort of stuff. And
Wow.
all of a sudden, what I was teaching them, it was using NLP, neuro linguistic
Hmm.
programming, to reprogram their minds for their future and goal setting, and using the psychology behind questioning these questioning techniques. And I found these people that had no experience at all. Within 3 months, they were actually ruling their area. They were just
Wow.
owning, doing really, really well. Yeah, it was pretty good. And I got a really good buzz out of that. I knew I could do it because I'd done it. So what I wanted to do is help other people doing it. And I started getting more and more satisfaction from
Yeah.
that.
Just one
And it's,
question. When was this?
yeah,
When did that started that you were teaching other people or coaching other people?
about about 13, 15 years ago.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so yeah, so I went on. I went from there, and then after the global financial crisis happened, and sales stopped, and I kept doing that sort of thing, and I ran into this friend of mine that I was still having these issues with my um,
Mhm.
you know my reliving that death experience. And I ran into one of the fellas that I had been coaching, and he said, "Great," and he's achieving, like, he's achieving amazing things. This man, he's running all over the world. He runs all around Australia, across New Zealand. Like, he's been all over the world just running for charities and everything. And I said, "Man, you're just fantastic. Like, you inspire me." He said, "Greg, look, I would never be where I am now, unless I met you and you sat down with me and we talked about my mind and how my thinking and my brain worked. And so then I could utilize it to its maximum, and I could shut out pain. I could shut out all these challenges and just overcome everything." I was like, "Oh, wow." It was a very good compliment. And we're still very, very good friends. I love him dearly. He's an amazing fellow. And he said, "How are you going with your headspace?" And I said, "Oh, man, it's just part of life." And he says, "I want you to try something different." And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Look, I've been to see a hypnotherapist, and to get rid of some things that were embedded in my mind as well. And not a normal hypnotherapist, an actual one that deals with mental health issues." And I said, "Okay, look, I'll give it a go, mate. I'm over this. I'm over being embarrassed. I know I'm much better than I think than I have achieved. Everyone can achieve more, obviously." And so I went and sat down, did a couple of sessions, and bang, just fixed
Wow.
me within a couple of sessions, that incident. And our mind is similar to, if you thought of like a tree, and that tree has all these branches on it. One of them was, for me, was that issue that happened in my life that was a major issue. And they call it PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It can happen from one event, or you can have complex PTSD, which is over many, many years. So quite a lot of people that have been in a sexually abusive relationship, or an abusive relationship over many, many years, have this complex PTSD, where unconsciously what happens is we attached an emotion to an incident in our past, and our
Mhm.
unconscious mind will not release it. It still keeps coming back, and things trigger us later in life. And once I learned that, this guy took me through this moment, and we relived it, but I relived it at a different, like I was a spirit looking down at it, and I understood that I get through it. Because one of our biggest fears when we're going through some challenges is, am I going to live through this? And it can be anything, you know, it can be financial stress. How am I supposed to live through this? How am I supposed to pay my bills? It could be, you know, a relationship, domestic violence sort of relationship. It could be stuff that people don't know what's happening, but something's blocking them, or they have anxiety about certain things. So this hypnotherapy took me back and fixed it. But then it opened up all these other branches of things in my life, where I remember I mentioned I had a pretty normal sort of a childhood, but things that people said in authority in my life when I was 2 years old, when I tried to achieve things, they said, no, you can't do that. You're an idiot. You don't. That's the most stupid idea you've come up with, boy. You can't do that. And so what happened was I ended up reprogramming myself through this hypnotherapy to do that. And I just thought, this was amazing. It fixed me from years and years of this pain that I was going through. And I went through significant depression, where my entire world was just this cave of better checking off. And I went through massive suicidal thoughts and all that sort of stuff. And it helped me through it. And I just thought, this is who I have to be. This helped me. And there's so many people I know, military and non-military, that go through these mental health challenges. And so I started as a business, How's Your Headspace? That's what I thought I would call it. And basically I do mental health, hypnotherapy, and mind coaching. So I run courses, I do workshops, I do one-on-one sessions, and I help people through significant challenges, mental health that they have. And going back to what your statement was before, is how is it more important today, especially with all the lockdowns and people, the mental stress people are undergoing. It comes in so many different levels of mental stress. There's financial, there's relationships. There's all of a sudden people find themselves stuck in home like a caged animal. And what happens then is their mind starts thinking. They have multiple thoughts, overthinking, circular thinking, which causes self-doubt, which causes anxiety, withdrawn. People go into this cave of their own. And so I've just started some podcasts under How's Your Headspace. You can find it on Spotify and things like that. And we talk about that sort of stuff and releasing the challenges that thought, because if we look at a bigger picture, we understand that if we look at what Einstein discovered in the laws of the universe and energy, everything is energy, full stop. There is no question about it. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Before we enter into our realm of this vessel, our body, we have come from somewhere, we don't know, and we go somewhere afterwards. But at every level, we are energy inside our body and outside our body. And then we start thinking, well, what is thought? Thought is energy. I create the thought. If you said something to me, and it could be negative or positive, right? That's your energy portraying onto me. I absorb it into this vessel of my body because it's 70, 80% water. So it's a conductor of energy. It builds up over time, and these thoughts keep going around, so I can control them. And so what I do now is I basically, most of my work is online, like we're doing here, because people basically just close their eyes and listen to my voice. And we can actually, I've got a program. It's a five sessions, 5 weeks, and we can basically go all the way back to before the people were born. Anything that's sort of implanted into their unconsciousness, because our unconscious remembers everything. It's like it's three-dimensional, because that's how we live. And our unconscious runs 95% of our life, as we know. It's part of our central nervous system. It's not just in my brain. So my body reacts to things, and people pick up energy on other people. And people pick up energy on opportunities. And how many times would you, Adil, have come across things in your life and said, oh, it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel right. This person, there's something, I know. There's something I don't like about this person or this opportunity. It's too good to be true. Or, there's a lot of that at the moment. People are just trying to there's a lot of scammers out there. if you feel it in your gut, we need to start trusting that, because that's our energy. That's our higher self. If we understand what our unconscious is and we tried to give it a name, we would call it our soul, because it's something we can't see, but it runs most of our entire life. It controls our life. So if we can start understanding that we can control thought in this environment, I can release negativity from this, from this vessel, this body, then we start getting a bit more relaxed, becoming a bit more aware of a bigger picture. And we can start then overcoming our challenges, financial, because we're losing jobs at the moment.
Yeah.
Being like a caged animal stuck at home, trying to, stimulate our minds, because when we don't stimulate our minds, excessive thought happens. And things that might have happened ages ago at work or whatever, small things build up and manifest. And the negativity, the negative emotions that are attached to certain events or things that people say to you, they're the ones that manifest and start taking over and consuming us. So, yeah, to answer your question, the reason I got into coaching is because it worked. What I'm doing now, assisting people with their mindset and their headspace, is because it helped me. And I just thought, there's so many people that could be helped here, and so that's why I'm doing it. Yeah.
And I think what is really amazing about this is that I mean, you've gone through a journey, and it's your personal experiences, personal challenges. You've came that, and then you use that as something that now you are helping others. And I always say that, I mean, this is something the most powerful, if you turn your pain into power. So that is something which is something that totally unleash our potential, in my opinion, that, I mean, when you have this ability to turn your pain into your power. So that's really inspiring and amazing. Thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so, and if I could give a tip to everyone that listens to this recording or the podcast or this moment, is don't listen to what other people say about, sorry, mate, you can't be helped. Sorry, darling, that's it. We've done all we can. There's other things out there. So I went through years and years of people saying, this is all you can do. This is all, because we look for government assistance. Here's the problem. We always look for something. Give it to me, give it to me. I want it free and I'll do it. But those methods are not the only methods. There's a holistic whole effort out there. And I paid for my courses, my sessions, sorry. And they helped me, within a month, you could have everything from your past that's infected your unconscious and is having such a significant influence on your future and what you're going through now. You can have it all fixed within 3, 4, 5 weeks. And so I hate, if I could do this for free, I would do this for free, but I have to pay bills as well. So
that's true.
I've created. Yeah.
So let me share. Can we just one thing? Can we put a highlight on this? I mean, now, this is what I want for our audience. That you've mentioned something about a 5-week program, I guess, right? So what it's called? How do you do it? Is it online, or what's the frequency? So something about that, and who is it for? So please share that.
Okay, so it's for everyone and anyone that feels that there's a blockage, anyone that knows that there's something not right. There's a lot of people that are depressed and sad. And we're all born into this life with the most positive outlook from existence. We are here to have fun, enjoy, and learn. But we are embedded in other people's lives, our parents, our family, whatever, and we're infected by that negative energy that builds inside us. So this is for everyone. This is for CEOs, because there's a lot of people that have achieved significant success financially, but have problems talking to their kids, or they have gone through multiple relationships with a partner because the balance isn't right, and so it could be a CEO, it could be someone who delivers papers on a route. It could be, I've had 38 jobs in my life, Adil. It's like I've scrubbed dishes in the back of restaurants, and I've helped billion-dollar investors buy property and things. So I can communicate with everyone, and I see that everyone has an element of things that they would like to improve in their life. So I designed this 5-week program, and it's just called an overall realignment, total realignment. And basically it goes, the way it works is people find out who they really are. They find out their real strength. They find out that what other people say to me doesn't matter. It's sort of like it bounces off. Then we go back in time and they fix up the way they looked at things when they were 1 year old or 1 day old, 1 month old, when they were subjected to something negative in their life, that their unconscious mind has gone, this is bad. And then it sticks with them and creates anxiety, self-doubt, all these things in their life when they're older, anywhere from the age of 15 onwards. Bullying at school, bullying in the workplace, those sort of things. They have a significant detrimental effect to our unconscious, and we can't consciously fix that. So we go back and we fix all that, or they fix them. I just guide them. I don't implant anything. People sometimes say, oh, you're not getting in here. I'm not letting you in my mind. But the fact is, I don't get in there. Basically, I just guide you and you fix it. This is this is what I love about this. You have the problem, but you have the answer. All I do is guide you through it, right? And then you fix it. So the success rate, if people do what I give the people tools, because our body, we say I'm 53, I've got 53 years of habits in my body of living a certain way.
Yeah.
And so it might take a month or two for my body to release that habit, because my unconscious releases it. So I give them tools that they can use every single day. 1 minute a day it takes just to release negative energy, negative emotions, of things of them slipping back to the way they were. And if they don't do it, they're the only failures I've had. People say, oh, your stuff doesn't work. It's just like, well, I've given you those tools. I do a recording for you. I do coaching out of hours. I'm there, like I'm basically their coach, and I hold their hand for 5-6 weeks. And afterwards, right, we become Facebook friends, and they tell me if they're having challenges. So it's sort of a relationship we build. And so I give them all these tools, and those that have used the tools, their entire life's changed. Their pathways have changed. They're attracting different people in their life. People from their past are dropping away because they're the negative ones in their life. But there's new people are coming in, because if you understand, this is me here and I'm all miserable and upset, and everyone around me the same. Oh yeah, me too. And then they step out and they've got all these positive people going, oh, how good's life? We've got this and this opportunity. These people get the shits with it and they'll leave you. But these people embrace you and they say, come along our ride. So people are changing their past. They're changing, they're getting new people in their lives. Ones that haven't had a relationship for 10 years are attracting people into their life that actually are on the same energy level, the same plane. And imagine living your life all of a sudden with someone that loves doing everything you love doing, it's just amazing. And this is all stuff people can do. So for the That's 5 weeks, some people want to go for longer, 12 weeks or whatever. So what I've done is I've set up payment plans. I've got Afterpay, I've got Easy Debit. People can pay up front. Everything differs from different people, like depending on what they want to achieve. So basically all people have to do is, if they've got something they want to fix in their life or release, they simply email me here at support@howsyourheadspace.com.au, and I have a chat with them and say, well, what do you want to achieve? And I put a package together for them. The last thing we want is money to get in the way of your headspace. So I've tried to make it as easy as possible. I've approached the Federal Minister for Mental Health in Australia. I'm trying to get, certified, licensed mental health hypnotherapy and all those sort of holistic sort of realms of people, fixing themselves, looked after by the government for bulk billing and that, but who knows when that might ever happen. So I just saw, bugger it. I'll just make life easy for people, try and create payment plans within their budget,
Mm-hmm.
and fix people. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help people. At the end of my day, because I release everyone's energy. So, and this is what I teach them too. They can release everyone's energy around them. So at the end of the day, I might have a glass of wine. I'll just sit down and I just go, oh, gee whiz, this person was like this, and now I've helped them be like that. I just feel so overwhelmed with joy. And I've got back into surfing, and so I go out and surf, and I either catch a few waves or I don't, but I just sit out there and I just reflect back on how happy people are after they've done this course, and it just makes me happy, So that's why I'm doing it, and I will start getting to. I want to start helping business owners and grow their business, especially after all this. They've lost so much money, so I'm going to start doing workshops, 4 or 5 week workshops. We'll have it like this. People can show their face or not. They can get rid of their names if they want. But I've got all the content for them from my coaching days, and then I've combined that with my mental health coaching now. And basically they've got a one-stop shop of personal and professional assistance. And we can also share experiences, because that's what you said before. And what I found difficult with these professional therapists was they'd spent a lot of time in universities and listening to people's problems, but they hadn't experienced as much themselves. So
exactly,
I think that's why more holistic sort of mental health measures, people have experienced maybe something similar to what you're going through, so they can relate, and therefore they've created and designed their help around that. So I would just encourage people to get out there and start having a look, and if they're curious about something, they can email. I've got clients that email me that aren't even clients, sorry, just people, and say, look, I was thinking of doing this because this is my problem. And of course I say, well, look, that one looks a bit chonky, but why don't you try that one? It's not all about coming to me. People, might not be the right suit for everyone, but I'm happy to guide people if that's what they want as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I would really encourage the audience who is watching or listening, depending on wherever you are, to reach out to him, have an interaction with Greg. He's an amazing person. He's very easily approachable. And what I'll do is I'll share all the details of how to contact him and where you can contact him if he's available on social media and everything. We'll share all the details either on the comment or in the description, depending on where we are streaming this. So that's so true. And I think something that you've mentioned, it really makes sense, because it's all about, what you're doing is something that you've gone through yourself. So you know the pain, you've been through that pain, and you know how it affects you and what it meant for you when you change all that. So I think that's the beauty of it, because I'm sure, and I've been doing this for the last 10 years too, and I know that this work and the impact that it creates is more about community, having a community of people who have either similar or shared experiences, or those who understand this. So I think that's the beauty of it. And what you're doing is really powerful and amazing. And I really wish you all the best for that. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, fantastic. Look, thanks so much, Adil, for this opportunity. Hopefully I can maybe have given one person some guidance. That's great. But look, friend me on Facebook. I've got a professional page there. I do lots of posts and guidance on things. And my surname is spelled Greg, Greg, and my surname is Keily, Keily. And if you look up either on Spotify or Facebook or Instagram, it's just How's Your Headspace, HOWS, Your Headspace. And headspace is 2 words, head space. I'm here to help. I'm here, and I'm not here to judge. That's the thing. Everyone has their own challenges, whether it's tiny or you think it's too small and it's embarrassing, or it's huge. I can help either way or help guide you. So yeah, please reach out. I'm here, or if I can't help you, I've got other people that I respect that I can maybe refer you to. So I just appreciate this opportunity, Adil, and anyone that we can help. We're in a happy zone. We're in a happy headspace ourselves.
That's so true. And to our audience, thank you for joining, and stay tuned. We'll be back next week again with another amazing coach or an expert who will be sharing with us the amazing work that they are doing. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.